Welcome back to In the Box. I'm your host, Sandy Plashkus. Today we're going to talk about the return of the MLB season, our MVP picks, and the new rule changes in place. Let's get right into it. Today we're joined by a special guest, one of our in-house status updaters, Devin Simser, the one and only. How you doing, Dev?
Oh, not so bad.
How's it feel to be on the pod for the first time?
It's a little different. I mean, I'm looking across the table and I got stupid faces looking at me. Supposed to come up
The
with an
intern
opinion
gang over
I
here.
just don't know, but we'll see. We'll get it going.
For sure. Do you want to just give our listeners a little insight into your daily routine, what you do here and what's so unique about your role?
So basically what I've been brought in to do is kind of, I guess what you could call it is kind of like that jock to geek translation.
I like that comparison. I get it because I work here.
I mean, you got to say, like, not everyone that's going to be playing fantasy sports knows exactly what's going on. So they're going to be looking and seeing exactly what these players are up to, and that's kind of what I'm doing. What's new with the players? Are they signing new contracts? Are they injured? Where are they in the lineup? Who's pitching? That kind of thing.
That's awesome. So you're basically the middleman. You're parsing information that we get from, all our sources, 1,200 plus Twitter accounts, all that good stuff, right? And then you are the one that approves the story and delivers it to our users, right?
Kind of deciding what's important.
Yeah. So that's it. What we do here at Owner's Box, obviously, our stats and information aspect of our business is extremely important. So Devin here, helps lead the charge with our boy JB back there. So, lucky to have you guys. It's definitely a very important role here.
Oh, it's fun.
Yeah, let's get right into it. So I'm here. Baseball's here. First day, opening day. How are we feeling overall about it?
I'm pumped. Very excited. We got Yanks versus Nationals, and we got Dodgers versus San Fran.
Yep, San Fran. But, let's before we dive into those matchups, let's just talk about baseball in general. What's your guys' favorite team, and why do you vote for them?
I mean, I got to go hometown. Got to go with the Blue Jays. Honestly,
tough decision now with no stadium.
Yeah, we'll talk about the no stadium thing later.
They can't be all winners either, but I think it could be pretty exciting.
For sure. Yeah. What about you, Jeremy?
Yeah, I'm with Devin. Hometown.
Got the Canadians on the pod.
Hometown, big Jays fan. Future's looking bright. We're looking to shock some people this year. I think we'll have a good year.
I agree. I think the Jays have a good shot this year. Personally, I'm a Dodgers fan. I don't even have to ask him what he is. I know he's a Dodgers fan as well.
Big time Dodgers fan.
I'm named after Sandy Koufax. He's named after Jackie Robinson. Funny enough, literally true story.
Can't
True
question
story.
my
Yeah,
team.
Anyone who ever questions our fandom can just go fuck off because we were born that way. We were born Dodgers fans, and this is gonna be our year. I think.
I promise you, this one is our year. I promise you.
I mean, looking at it from our perspective, we got Mookie to sign that insane contract yesterday. I mean, you can't put a price tag on that kind of talent, right? And you saw Trout get the contract. You saw those other big contracts over 10 years with Harper. I just that was the right contract as a fan.
13 years going forward.
12 years, $365 million, the most lucrative contract in baseball history.
It was weird though for me because he didn't even play a game in the uniform yet, and a lot of my buddies, huge baseball guys. I stay in tune with baseball Twitter. Everyone was shocked almost by how early the signing was. I don't think anyone, there's the Jared Carabises of the world, who's the biggest sock guy in the world. He hates the Betts deal. Cannot stand it. He thought Betts was going to be back in Boston this year. Tough scene for that guy, to say the least, right? I mean, he's not going anywhere for 13 years. I'm not a huge fan of long-term contracts, but you can't put a price tag on that.
The best
talent.
part about that trade, everyone was giving the Dodgers crap, saying, oh, he's just a rental, have fun with your 60-game short season, and now we locked him up. It's just great. It's rubbing in all the haters' faces.
Yeah, and
How much of that contract does he play out?
It's a
I
great
don't know,
question.
but he's going to be retired. Dodgers Hall of Fame.
Eddie, clip that one. We'll remember that in a few years.
I'm taking that one to the bank.
I'm not as bold with my statements as that, but I mean, long term, I definitely see him in the uniform, unless barring some crazy thing happening in some trade. But seeing Betts in a Dodgers uni after him just demolishing us in the World Series all those years, the playoffs. I went to Fenway and watched him. He hit a bomb against us, just absolutely killed us. So
Betts.
good to see him in the good colors this year.
Betts 2020 MVP.
Oh, well, that's what I'm saying. So this is the next question. What player are you most excited for, and who do you think takes the MVP title this year in the league?
So for the AL, I'll go with the easy choice, Mike Trout. By far, probably the best player of all time. I'm just going to say it. He is unbelievable. For my NL pick, I'm going to take Mookie Betts. Very exciting. Just signed that contract. Now he's all relaxed. He's in LA. I love it. He'll be shining the spotlight. What do you guys think?
Yeah. What about you, Jeremy? You go first.
I think with the shortened season, we might see some shockers.
I agree with that.
I'm excited to see the rookies coming up especially with the shortened season, now they're just all going to come up because there is no AAA, and it's just kind of an alternate site where it's not really competitive baseball. Mackenzie Gore on the Padres is an exciting guy to see. He pitched like 1.9 ERA.
He's super young too.
Yeah,
What is he?
super
Do you
young.
know how old he is? I'm not
Probably
sure.
21,
Yeah.
22 for
Yeah,
sure.
21,
Crazy.
22. Chris Paddock had an insane year.
He's
He
getting the
won't be-
nod. He's getting the nod for opening day.
He's
isn't he?
getting the nod for opening day, and he's not going to have any innings limits this year. Like, they're just going to be full-fledged with him. So he's one of the guys where, the Cy Young 60-game season, who knows?
Yeah, that's going to play a role. I mean, you'll see guys, as we said, we're going to talk about this later, but the rotations will be swung and all that will be changing, right, all the time. It's going to be interesting to see how these Cy Young awards, how these, you think you'll see hitter like Bellinger, these kind of guys hitting 400 this year because of 60 games. Like, is that like the target for MVP? Because usually, you're above 300, over 100 RBIs. That's just, people know that as an amazing season, but there's no real placeholders for 60 games. It's going to be different judging it. Do you think that will, some players will play better to the 60 games than others? I definitely think so myself.
I think so for sure. You can get hot and cold, 20 games here and there. Like anyone catches a 60-game hot streak, they're winning the MVP or the Cy Young.
The MVP is not going to be anybody that anybody's going to bet on.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Not as bold. I took my NFL on the last episode. I talked about my NFL pick for MVP being Aaron Rodgers after the Danica Patrick breakup. I'm pretty bullish on him this year. But looking at the MLB, I don't feel as confident with a pick in general. I do think Trout is probably the biggest certainty out of any of the names. Not to mention these other guys. I think Bellinger has a shot.
Bellinger's got a good shot for sure.
I don't want to be that guy to say, oh, Bellinger again. I don't think he'll go back to back there. But it's interesting to see a lot of players in different uniforms. The shortened season, and there's going to be just a lot of factors that play into this race this year. So that's why I'm interesting to hear your site.
I was kind of thinking that MVP is going to go to somebody who's playing really good defense as well. Anybody who's playing really good defense but is also putting up offensively, because offensively there's not going to be as many opportunities to put up all those highlight reel plays.
I think, five-tool guys, that's a good point. Like defense, stealing bags, there's Bellinger's the really
Yelich, I think
five-tool.
Yelich has a good chance this year if he stays healthy.
What did he have? What was his injury? Was it a quad?
Yeah,
something
last year. Something on the lower body.
Or it
for
might have
sure.
been a knee, I think.
Yeah.
But anyways, that injury, he's going to be bouncing back. I was listening to Buster Olney's podcast this morning. He was saying they're looking for him. His pick was Yelich to go, be one of those top guys for the MVP crown. So, you never know how someone's going to bounce back from injury. At least, pitchers have their arm injuries. Those are usually really bad. But, hopefully Yelich can bounce back. As a Dodgers fan, I don't want him to kill us again, but it's going to be cool to see all these guys coming back and playing a real season this year, right?
Didn't I heard some news? He's been terrible.
Yesterday he had a dinger.
Oh, did he?
He's not terrible.
Yeah,
He's
I mean,
bad. He's
he'll
bad.
go 0 for
You
11.
can't really take those inner spots
Preseason
too
doesn't
serious,
matter.
but
That's what I'm saying. I mean, I think the Dodgers game yesterday, they hit in the bottom of the ninth. They were up 3. It was 2 days ago. They were up 3 runs and they won the game, and they still hit in the bottom of the ninth.
Yeah,
I don't think anyone
Yeah.
really cares about who wins or loses those games. They want reps. And obviously with 60 games, no minors, there's not, those young guys are going to miss out, and we will chat about that later. But it's going to be just interesting to see everything play out, especially tonight. It's going to be our first exposure at real baseball in so long. So could not be more excited to say the
I'm
least.
absolutely hyped. Let's go. It's finally here. Big games.
Big games. So let's talk, before we jump into the 162-game season versus the 60-game season, what's going to differentiate those two. Let's talk about our picks for tonight. What do you like? Who do you like in the 2 games? What have you played so far, or what are you thinking about?
So we got 2 games tonight. We got Yankees versus the Nationals for the first game. I'm taking Garrett Cole and the Yankees, -115. I absolutely love that pick. For my second pick, my absolute lock of the day, I'm going Dodgers total over 4.5 runs.
It's at
Over
5.5.
4.5 runs. I mean, this is the problem. You got to be on top of the game. I got it 2 days ago, and now they already moved the line to 5.5, and I'm absolutely loving my pick. That is my moral lock of the day.
That's your pick?
I've been telling you guys for the last 2 days all around the office, this is the pick to have.
Jackie's going to learn the hard way. You never bet against Johnny Cueto.
I feel like
Johnny
bet
Cueto's
against
coming off
it's
Tommy
just so,
John.
Think about it like this. All these books in the world, everyone's going to bet the Yankees and the Dodgers. It's the easy pick out. That's why, looking at it this morning, I placed my Dodgers money line, Yankees money line parlay.
I have that parlay as well.
I didn't want to place it. I didn't take it for a crazy amount because there's just going to be some sort of mix up here that there's no way those two teams are going to win that easily. There's going to be something that happens. There's always that way with Vegas. You know, the books have a say in what happens.
I don't know how you can bet against the Dodgers tonight.
I'm never going to bet against my team.
It's the LA Dodgers versus the San Francisco Cuetos. Who else do they have? who else is on that lineup?
I
honestly,
couldn't even
they got
name
some. They got
Crawford,
Longoria,
maybe
Crawford,
Longoria's not playing.
Belt. I mean, Posey's sitting out now.
See,
That's big news.
Hey, this is what our status updaters do here. He knew you thought he was playing. He knew right before. That is why Owner's Box employs people like my buddy here. They make the platform work, and that's definitely a unique offering what we have here. Thanks for stepping up to the plate there and
don't
shutting
take that
down.
as gospel yet. I just seen the projections already. So,
well, good. So let's dive right into it. 162 games versus 60 games. How do we feel about it? What do you think? The fans will, with no fans, what do you think it will be like from a viewer's perspective? Will there be crowd noise, or do you guys want to see crowd noise? I read a report that there will be, or sometimes they're going to project fans with monitors into the seats so people on TV can see it. What do you guys think about all this?
Yeah, personally, I don't give a shit. Like that's just me though, being me. But I know people are like, I can't watch if there's no like fans or excitement. But like as I play baseball.
Yeah.
As a guy who plays baseball, like. They're just gonna play. Like they're gonna be competitive. Like
before.
like I always play with no fans. Like maybe the couple moms and dads, but that's about it. But no, they're gonna be competitive. It's gonna be competitive baseball, and the camera angles are gonna have. They're gonna show like the least amount of seats possible.
For sure.
And they're gonna have way more cameras at the game. So I'm interested to see what type of angles they're gonna be showing, or if they're gonna try some new stuff that people are gonna hate or people that are gonna love. I'm just interested to see how it's gonna play out.
And you know what? I just want to bring it back to one topic we discussed last week with the MLS when they were projecting logos onto the field. In terms of fans being projected, do you guys? It's definitely possible. I've seen a lot of reports on it. How do you think that's that necessary? You said you didn't care. I personally wouldn't care. Mm-hmm. But do you think it's worth it? I mean, for the fair weather fan or even the passionate MLB guy to see fans in the stadium. I mean, you're going to be hearing them anyways. Like, does it make that big of a difference for you guys?
Like, I was watching this morning when I got in. I turned on the NBA. They're playing their little scrimmages, and they had like this panel on the side of the court where there was just like blown up fans yelling like from, I don't know, they must have recorded it from like last season or something. It was painfully awkward to watch because they're like so big and blown up. Like, you could see this guy's pimple.
No.
From TV. It's like, that's so
that's terrible.
It was so awkward.
And that's the thing is I saw a little clip of it on Twitter, and you could see like the fans obviously weren't situated properly. Like there's always like going to be the errors in the technology, right? And you could see them misplaced. Like there was fans standing in the rows like instead of in the seats. So, I mean, obviously they're going to try to do as much as they can to make it feel normal, right, to the viewing experience. So I'm just interested to see if they're going to integrate it right off the bat, or they'll just stick to crowd noise like other sports have.
Well, today I saw, I think it was MLB Network. They said they were going to do crowd noise for sure every single game that they have live, and I was like, I saw a scrimmage the other day. And it was terrible. Did you see that?
Did you guys see this?
I didn't see it.
Fans I don't know if it's an application or some sort of through your mobile device where you can actually like control the crowd noise. Were they doing that in LA?
Well, one of the main TV companies are every game that they have, they're pumping the crowd noise.
No, I know
the
they're pumping it, but I'm saying what I read is what you just said is that the fan, like if I was sitting on my couch watching the game, I could like log in through my provider
that would make sense.
or through this like the team app and actually control the crowd noise, which is
nobody's gonna do that.
Yeah. I don't. First of all, I don't think anyone would do that. I'm too focused on the game in front of me. But
they'll do it the first
some
time.
Some people would try it. I feel like it'd be, as I said, as normal as we can make it, as normal as the leagues can make it for the fans. I think all this stuff is an effort for that, but that seems a little too much. I don't think that would receive very positive reviews on that end at all.
No.
So, let's talk about, since we're talking about new normal, what's happening in the sports world right now. Do you guys think we'll see a lot of positive tests throughout this season?
I think the major sports leagues have been doing a great job managing it, but we just see Juan Soto just tested positive. So let's talk about that.
We were literally just prepping for this pod like 20 minutes ago, and that news came out. Obviously, we were already planning on talking about it, but someone like Juan Soto, like think about fantasy lineups, think about
MVP picks,
think about teams, like how you don't know how long he's gonna be out, 14-day quarantine, but they might have to sit him out depending on how he does. He might have infected other players, all this stuff. So hopefully not. But I think
even playoff implications, like that's their best player. Maybe they don't even make the playoffs now because he misses 14, 15 games. That's 1/4 of the season.
well, that's and then think about like suspensions. Anything happens, you can't suspend a guy for half the season. If you do, it's 30 games. Even if you miss 2 weeks, it's, as you said, like a good portion of the season.
Every game is a playoff game.
Soto's going to miss minimum 2 weeks, and it sucks he just got tested positive because the season starts literally tonight. So he's going to miss insane amounts of time.
You'll look back on that though, and you'll see that it's going to happen to every other team as well.
You really-
it's
yeah,
going to
you
balance.
think so?
It's going to balance.
But then you see that. Well, the thing about this is you see the NBA, and they're in the bubble. No tests so far positive. So that's validating the model of keeping everyone in the same place. But with MLB traveling, all that stuff, you think more positive. It's almost inevitable.
I just don't think you're going to be any lower or any higher than the percentage that you're seeing in like a national average. I mean, these guys have the same opportunity to catch it as Joe off the street. I mean, they're going to catch it.
On that note, I was reading that, some of the people in the press, MLB beat writers, all that good stuff, they can't even go onto these fields. They can't go interview players. They got to stay in the press box. It's a completely different experience for not only the fans, not only the players, the organizations, but actually the people inside baseball who report on it and just deliver news to people, right? And they're stuck in the press box. Like, that's crazy to me. I don't know. Everyone, those post-game interviews, Rosenthal, those guys are always on the field engaging after a dope win. How are they going to do that now? No post-game interviews with Gatorade showers or anything like that?
I'm big into the F1 as well. They started
Love the
their season, what was it? It was a month ago. Maybe they're 3 weeks in, or they're 3 weeks in now. But like their celebrations and their interviews post-race, it's kind of, I mean, there's nobody there. There's the player, there's a mic, they've got their mask on, and then the interviewer is like off camera, like 10 feet away. So that's what you're gonna see. You're gonna see a lot of that. Every broadcaster like has his own section of the grandstand. There's a lot of that too, but they kind of like move around. They work their way around it as best they can.
Yeah, for sure.
Like,
Any insight there?
Was Soto not at training camp?
He was, I believe. I
So-
saw he was playing.
He would have
Yeah,
been.
so
Yeah.
he was playing.
How is it not like you're telling me they found out today? They're
That's what I'm
playing today, and they're not even talking about maybe he was around the players. Like, this guy had.
They don't
So
wanna
I think they
assume
knew.
that.
They must have knew before, because you're telling me that these players running around Soto, the guy was at training camp. So I don't know the
that's
whole
what I'm
story.
saying.
What's
Is
going on
and they're
here?
traveling, like you said.
Yeah.
It's not as contained as the NBA, which worries me. I mean, the NBA's, they have that plan in place, the safety regulations, and they're very strict. Like the DoorDash thing last week
Yeah,
we talked
that's
about,
hilarious.
crazy. But like, you can't really prevent it. You can only do so much in the MLB's environment, but it's interesting. I find it highly unlikely that no one else caught it if he just got tested positive. I do not know how frequently they do testing in the MLB though. Do any of you guys know?
I'm not positive.
I've definitely seen it so many places, and me doing what I do, I should know this off the top of my head.
No, but I think they're
But it's something like every like 2 days or twice
Yeah.
a week or something like that. It's pretty
And
frequent.
Wouldn't that be a shit show if today they announced Soto had and then they canceled the game?
I'm sure they've known for days though.
They're one of the last teams to send out their 30-man rosters. So like they got a lot of shit to figure out.
Yeah.
That's yeah.
Like, that would
It's.
be
I almost
a
find it
terrible
impossible to believe that. Yeah, that would be a terrible start. But I would find it hard to believe that no one else has it. If
Yeah.
he had it and he was the only one, that would be like shocking. to me.
Crazy. No
It
way.
would really be shocking. So let's talk about more of the rule changes this year specifically. So let's talk about universal DH 1st. I love it personally.
I like it, yeah.
I'm a fan of the NL team. Watching our Dodgers players hit the pitchers. It's just a waste of time. They bat like one. The average I saw today was like 120 last year. The pitchers hit 120 last year. No one needs to see that. It's literally they go up there and they're either bunting or striking out over half
They're
the time.
told not to swing.
Yeah, exactly. So what do you guys think about that? Obviously, I'm in favor of it, but what's your take?
I'm in favor of it. I think it gives more people a chance to make the MLB. Like, you're seeing, for an example, a guy from Ontario, Josh Naylor.
Yeah.
Plays for the Padres.
Come on, he's
from Toronto?
He sucks.
Yeah, he's from
he's
Mississauga.
terrible.
That's
He just doesn't like
wait,
it.
Yeah,
He's terrible.
Naylor.
The guy in
Naylor,
the
yeah.
Padres
It's
outfielder.
crazy. No, I know he is.
He's got to transform to become an outfielder because they have a good first baseman. So now he has to try and fit into an outfield spot because he will never have a spot in the lineup because they don't have a DH. I don't agree with it. Like, I think
Yeah.
then he's better off getting traded.
Then there's those teams. There's those teams that have a stacked lineup. You know, they might
Yeah.
have more than 3 outfielders. Dodgers
Yeah.
being one of them. You know, they have utility guys that play every other game. You know what I mean? So there's those teams. I think that's going to obviously for the Dodgers play a huge bonus. There's guys like Gavin Lux. You know, all these other guys that. You know, Jock Peterson, he'll get run in the outfield, obviously, but it's going to be rotating. You know, last year it would have rotated more, though, which is cool. So you're going to see a lot more runs. We did see a ton of home runs last year, record breaking. I have reading here that 671 more home runs hit last year than any other season.
Wow.
671. That's not
71
more than the record.
That's insane.
That's insane.
So how does that even with the DH now, no pitchers hitting, you'd think that number could
That's
go
going
up.
up.
I know it's
going up.
on
It's, yeah,
average. I'm not
60,
talking
yeah.
about overall. I'm talking because there's only 60 games this year. But on average, I'd like to think, unless they're changing the balls, I'd really think they have juiced those balls up. But
I personally, I don't think it's the balls. I think it's more encouraging to hit home runs, strike out 200 times. Like you see the modern player, they want
good
launch
point.
angle. What do you guys think about that? Like the swing.
You think it's
changing.
more- so
I
you're
think it's more
saying-
the swing and the strategy of baseball these days.
Just buckle that back knee and hope for it.
well, yeah. I think it's a combination of both. No, there's been no like yes or no on the ball issue, even though everyone says it. Last year it was pretty much the talk of the league, but. You know, with these hitters going up there, you know, they're good with hitting 200, hitting 30 plus bombs. You know what I mean? You look at the Alonsos, you know, the guys who will strike out a ton, but they'll hit as many homers. You know what I mean? So it's definitely teams prefer that angle. So I think it's definitely both. Both contribute.
Yeah, the bats too. I mean, I don't think the bats have gotten better over a short period of time, but now they're like fully customizable bats to whatever they like.
And there's also technology comes into
Yeah.
it. I mean, 30 years ago, all this swing technology you see, like you can literally see your launch angle. You can see pretty much any
Swing
statistic.
speed, ball speed, bat speed.
It's like your golf tracker. You have the same for baseball. And, you know, these players are not only working out harder than any other generation of baseball players, they're also have the best technology, best equipment, as you said. So it's definitely all contributing. It's just going to be interesting to see if the league itself does anything in terms of like lowering the power of the balls. I don't even know if that's possible. Or if they're
No
doing
way.
it,
I don't
but
think the league will touch it.
they like it. 'cause
They
it's
love it.
sexy.
Yeah, they
Homer
love it.
sell.
Sexy.
Yeah, Homer sell. That's for
Fans
sure.
love it.
I just did a quick Google about testing, how frequently they do testing, and it says multiple times per week for
That's-
tier 2 individuals.
Tier 2, whatever. Is that just like people who
Health-wise?
are
This is
more?
from ESPN.com. During monitoring, testing, players and other individuals classified as tier 1 are tested every other day, while tier 2 individuals are tested multiple times per week.
Wow,
So it's tier 1
Must be like
players,
taxi
starting
squad
players and stuff.
like that.
that's crazy.
Yeah, I'm guessing tier 1 starting players.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would guess so. Yeah, of level of importance or something like that. I think this actually plays extremely well to our next topic, which is the Blue Jays. They're homeless right now, and then you guys being huge fans, obviously we're up in Ontario, in Toronto, just outside. What do you guys think happens? I mean, they had Pittsburgh locked up. It seemed like they were going to have all their home games in Pittsburgh until they said Pennsylvania's like, nope, can't happen. And then they're looking at Baltimore, I think, as
Baltimore,
well.
yeah.
And then that's kind of still up in the air. The season starts now.
Waiting
Like,
on state approval.
what do you guys think? Like, are they going to play? It seems like the only option right now that's solidified is that they're going to play all their home games just in road stadiums.
I think with no stadiums, no fans, it won't be like a big advantage. Like they're not playing in front of anyone, so what's the difference? Like they're gonna be home. Like
No, but
in another
travel
stadium.
though. Travel.
Yeah.
What about
travel, yeah, they might be tired.
I mean, they might be. I mean, think about all the. I guess you play series in baseball, which is nice. You're not NBA. You travel probably a
they're
little
not
bit
doing
more.
half as much traveling as they normally would either.
That's a good point.
They're playing a lot of like interdivision games.
Yeah, I just if they lock down Baltimore within the division, I think that would be a big win for them. I think they're obviously going to stay Northeast somewhere.
Yeah.
But what state? I don't see any teams willingly doing that. I don't know how that would work with clubhouse issues, all that stuff too. It's a lot of prep, and the season's already here, right? So
Yeah, like I as a Jays fan, I just wonder like what the hell happened. Like they did not have a backup plan. Did they just assume they were going to get accepted?
Personally, I thought it was a lock that they were going to go to Pittsburgh. I didn't even think twice, and then obviously the state overrode it. But
They came out saying that they had like
Yeah.
6 backup plans, but
Yeah,
like,
6 backup
nobody's
plans.
heard one.
Yeah, and I think Florida, Dunedin, I know they had the whole thing. Well, clean the shit out and get over there.
Yeah,
'Cause
that was-
I think that
Florida would be a great location.
yeah,
for the Jays.
it's because of the whole. But the Marlins are playing there, are they not, in Miami?
yeah, they are.
Yeah.
So like,
But, yeah,
just
they're
bubble
super
it
contained,
off.
but yeah.
like and play there.
Bubble it.
Do you think the bubble model would work with MLB just because, NBA
not?
games are. Well, I'm asking. Would you think so? I just.
I don't think
if they could find a place to contain the players, then yes, it would work.
No,
But
because
I don't
it's
think
not-
they
It's
can.
not a
It's not
bubble. It's
containing
not a
them.
bubble.
NBA.
Yeah.
Think about Walt Disney World. You could pack 4 courts in a one.
Yeah.
one.
Baseball's not
Whatever-
bubbleable because they
whatever you call
travel
those
every other
places.
3 days to another state.
I still think baseball should have been a hub city. Baseball's the one sport where you could have a hub city because there's so many
Well, you
parts
can't
of
put it-
multiple fields.
Yeah, I guess there's no fans, so you don't really need
You don't
stands.
need- I
They
don't
want to
need-
keep
yeah.
it. The problem is that the leagues want to keep it as realistic as it feels like. They're not going to go play it like an AAU field. Like that's just
Yeah,
not
it's
going to
not
happen.
happening.
You know
That
what
would
I mean?
be that would actually be fun to watch.
I mean, they do it in like the spring training.
I like the
fields,
spring training with no.
There's like a set of bleachers or
Yeah.
2. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's literally like you
Like
go
a
play your
basketball
travel
court's
game.
a basketball court, but a professional baseball stadium,
It's so-
that grass is just you can't.
Yeah, it is
can't have
true.
those standards. Like
And I think it's
anywhere
real.
else.
It's just how much real estate they have. There's a lot of players, a lot of teams. I don't see the bubble working as well for the baseball. But ideally, I'm praying that nothing happens. This Soto news is not very positive. I don't think the season will get canceled. Knock on wood. But I think we'll see some stars definitely get, or at least be surrounded by someone who has it. And
Yeah.
obviously the teams, say a middle guy on the team, like a relief pitcher gets it. You're not going to want your star players around the guy, right? If you lose one of your stars, you're screwed, right?
There's nothing that's going to happen to the season itself. I mean, there's so many depth players in those lineups that they'll get it done. And I mean, we're kind of to the point now where nothing's really being canceled. Everything's opening up.
Yeah.
So I mean, we're continuing to see cases come out, but they're going to play through it.
Yeah, and I just thought of something in terms of the Jays. They're a younger team, so I think traveling wouldn't really hurt them as much. If you have a team full of veterans or a little bit older team like the Nationals, they're older. I don't think they'd be as incentivized to travel. I think the young guys, Vlad, Cavan, Biggio, Bichette, all those guys. I mean, they're so young. They're in their young 20s, right?
They don't
All
eat
three
their
of them.
breakfast at 9 and then
Yeah, they're just like
at 10.
they're just like
whatever.
screw it. Let me lace them up. Let me go play. They're only in their second years, right? All 3 of them, I believe. So I mean, I think they'll be fine. It's just definitely going to be a disadvantage if they don't find one permanent place to play. I mean, traveling is traveling.
get
at the end
tired
of the
quick.
day.
Let's talk about the Astros and how no fans and their cheating scandal is going to be affected.
I wasn't even.
How's that going to go?
Are our
There-
listeners ready for us Dodgers fans to talk about the
There's no
Astros?
fans to heckle them. It's all on the team.
So you're
How's
saying-
this going to go?
So you're saying is a Astros conspiracy?
They are so happy. They are so happy COVID hit.
Devin, honest take on the podcast so far. We're only in our second episode. It's a
I mean-
cover up for the cheating scandal, but
They're probably loving it at this
Well,
point. Come on.
Gotta have some fun with it.
while we're joking about that though, have you personally I haven't, but have you guys heard the buzz about the Astros cheating has gone just
Down.
this with obviously there hasn't been games happening. You have that one Twitter, the Asterisk Tour
Astros,
Twitter account.
Astros Shame Tour 2020.
The best Twitter account. He was super inactive for 3 months, and now he's ramping up content. I saw
He got hit, yeah.
he posted 3 batters got hit in
The
their
Royals, yeah, the Royals spring training.
Why didn't they plunk them harder? Those were soft.
I didn't
Yeah,
see
they're like
it.
curveball.
I saw
One
only
hit,
one of them, but it was 3 in one game, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think it was the same pitcher, but I did read is that they're
Complete
going to
accident.
punish like crazy if they catch. But how do you even determine? People get hit all the time. I guess some are more obvious than not. If Astros get 3 or 4 guys get beamed in a game, then yeah, maybe that's more obvious. But
Oh, it's gonna be like the.
I
Sean
mean, at the
Payton
beginning
thing.
of the season,
But,
they had
like-
all those prop bets. Who was going to get hit the most on the Astros?
Is that
Now we're,
still bettable?
I
I don't
don't
even
know. I
know.
hope.
I mean, I'm taking the over
They
on
deserve
whatever
it.
that line is. But in all honesty, how do you, as an umpire, gauge an intentional hit or not if it's the first time? I guess the bench is clear. I think the players will be on their toes, especially the Astros. One guy gets hit, they're going to be bouncing out of that dugout.
Yeah.
So I read that it's any action, any pegging a batter, anything like that provokes an incident. So literally, if, say a guy hit Bregman first at bat, and the bench is cleared, it's
So this
possible
is
that
my
that
thing.
pitcher could get punished just
That's
off
dumb.
that,
This
which
is
is
my-
stupid.
This is my thing with the social distancing, the MLB. Say the players clear the bench and there's a fight, they have a brawl. There's 50 players in the middle and huddling up with the MLB will have a freak.
I didn't even think about that.
No, they said if there's a brawl, there will be punished. You can't suspend the whole team.
They
know-
drop
So-
the hammer quick on that?
Do any of you guys know about mask regulations? What they are in dugouts? Say I'm not in the game. Do I have to wear a
I'm
mask?
sure they'll probably sit 6 feet apart in the dugout. they'll try to enforce
that-
that, but it's just not
They
realistic.
have
Well, you have
to-
the bullpen guys
No,
too, right?
you have to expand the dugout.
Or they
Only
might-
the starting
yeah.
lineup is allowed in the dugout.
Is that
They
true?
sit
Yeah.
outside.
Yeah.
Yes, they sit in the
Yeah.
seats on the
Yeah,
outside.
but
Oh, yeah,
Fenway,
no fans. I
Fenway
forgot.
actually like they did something cool and actually like expanded their dugout and
Really?
with the seats, used it, and I guess they destroyed them and made like a new dugout. I mean, they got the money, so
Yeah, that's I mean,
That's
is that recent?
Yeah,
I haven't seen
it was
that.
pretty recent. I saw a picture of it. It looks sweet. It's
Is it like a second level behind the dugout,
it's like
or is it more
to the
extended?
like
wider?
more behind the plate, but it's like it just like I'm guessing there's maybe a door or it's open, but it's where everyone's
That's
gonna be.
sick.
That's
Pretty
awesome.
sweet.
Yeah.
I mean, now that those seats aren't filled, I completely blanked there for a second. But that's possible. I think you see the soccer teams doing it. I was watching EPL. They sit the guys like 5 seats
top.
apart, and they're going they go literally behind the dugout, and I don't know what they call it in soccer, but the dugout, and it goes just way back up, like where fans would be. So it's going to be interesting to see. Baseball is huge communication, team game, right? You're always cheering for your guys. It's going to be weird, guys coming and hit home runs, air fives I saw,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
there's not going to be that many guys in there, so it's going to be pretty dry. Like my
They'll
favorite
make some fun of it.
like my favorite part was seeing these guys like come in the dugout, like the silent treatment guys, and then going crazy after a bomb. Like those kind of things aren't going to be happening, which
What
is
about
crazy.
like pitchers and like pressure situations? Like there's no fans, like a 3-2 bases loaded, extra innings. Like that's not going to happen anymore. Like there's no pressure to throw strikes with the fans. Like how is that going to be affected?
I think are they going to pump noise? I don't know. That's the
Yeah, I
thing, though.
don't
Is
know if
how
they'll-
much noise
yeah.
are they going to pump in that situation? It's like if I'm the home team and I'm controlling the noise,
I'd be like,
they
fuck
take
you.
I'd step off and I'd go
Yeah.
right up to the booth, right up to the booth. So I think that's why I think it's going to be really, really low key. There'll be like home runs, obviously, when the ball's not in play. Like they'll do the loud noises and shit like that. But
I can't wait to see the first walk-off home run and just how awkward that is.
just silent. Well, that's why they'll do it. Like that's what I just said. Like I think there's gonna be noise. Like
Yeah.
it's gonna be. It almost be like painful to watch. Like him hit like a grand slam or any kind of home run in general, and just see no cheering.
Or like they can't even go up to home plate and congratulate him and tackle him. Like they're probably they're probably sitting
They
on
do
the
the helmet
side.
thing, and it's like they're 6 feet apart doing air helmets.
You think they've been practicing their home run? And
Well, they do.
Sellies?
Like Belly does, like they do the arm thing, and the Dodgers at least they had like an air handshake, and it looked painfully awkward, to be honest. But
God.
hey, you got to make the best of it. Fans love that kind of stuff. I mean, how can you at least make it feel like it's normal? I think that's going to be the huge mission behind the MLB this year. But it's going to be hard to say the least with all going on, right?
Yeah.
So,
Well, we are glad it's back. That's all we got to say.
yeah,
I'm
we're
pumped.
super
I'm
glad,
pumped.
of
Very
course.
glad.
And, let's just finish this conversation by talking about, the next 5 years or the next, not even the next 5 years, the next year going forward. Do you think we'll get to any fans? We talked about the NFL's case, doing minimum capacity. What about the MLB? Is it possible? Do you think we'll see it this year or not?
I don't think so. I'll keep my hopes up for the playoffs, maybe in the later rounds. Hopefully they get some capacity because NFL is going to get a little bit. Some teams, different states, like it just depends. Like we don't know.
I think it depends. I think the MLB will wait. The NFL, we'll see how the NFL goes.
I think that's going to be the test
Yeah,
case, right?
and I
'Cause-
think they'll just be like, you guys do it. Like everyone's kind of like you be the first one.
Nobody wants to be
and
the first one.
So if they see the NFL and it goes well, I think what they'll maybe do is maybe every other game in playoffs or something to ensure enough time to clean and stuff. But I don't know. I don't think they'll have fans.
It kind of sounds weird to say that the MLB is having too short of a season, but I think that's the case. I think the season's too short for them really to start like making those decisions halfway through the season or 3/4 way through the season. It just doesn't make any sense. Like, how much money are you going to make from like? Well, I mean, they have a game every day, but
Yeah,
but like I don't know. In comparison to a full football season, wherever they have their weeks between games and they're doing a full season's duration, I think it makes more sense for them to take the time to be like, oh, maybe we can start by like week 8 or something like that. Whereas the MLB,
They don't
everything's
have. When does
everything's
the
moving so
playoffs
fast.
start? That was literally my next
Yeah.
tangent here. Is when do the playoffs start? I'm blanking right now, but it's not a quick turnaround. Like they have a few months, not even a few months. They're gonna get their games in. 60 games in 60 something days. Like it's insane. It's
crazy.
Like,
I saw a tweet yesterday that apparently they're still contemplating going from 10 to 16 teams in playoffs.
They
Did you
still
guys
don't
not
know?
see that?
I saw a
and they
post.
can
I didn't
only
know how
make
validated it was,
make
though.
the decision. I think was like right before the game or 24 hours for the game. So I'm guessing that's off the table. But like, are they like cracking under pressure? Like,
I just think they're doing it for viewership and money.
Yeah,
Like they want more teams in. You
I
know,
wanted
it's
to see
hard.
it.
But I think from my point of view, I think it's easier. You know, they're halfway through the season anyways of 162 games. You know who's good. Like, I mean, you don't know for sure, but you have a clear picture of what the playoffs could look like. At least, 70% of the way through. I know 60's a little shorter than that, but ultimately, I could think this is like a test case for the MLB. Like, this goes well. I could see them shortening the season. They were already chatting about it before over the last few years, but ultimately, it's going to feel weird with these short schedules. I don't think there's much time to adapt to fans, as we were just talking about. So it would be great to see them. I think playoff environment, you need it, but ultimately it's going to be up to the health and safety guidelines, and it probably won't even be possible, honestly. The seasons were already going. NBA was already mid-season when it got stopped. What am I forgetting? NHL was already going. Like
Everyone forgets about
these-
the NHL around here.
I know. I
understand
couldn't forget for you Canadians here, but I think since they were already going, like they're adapting on the fly. Like the NFL has had so much time to just plan out for this. Go off what the NBA did. NBA stopped play first. What have they done to adapt to these safety guidelines? So they've had that time, but it's weird to see. Like the other day, I saw NFL. Like the players were tweeting like, "You had all this time to figure out this health and safety rules, and you still haven't given anything to us."
They're very
Which is
they're
shocking to
livid.
me because they had all this time to literally watch every other league do it, and they still, couldn't figure out. I don't know the updated case right now with that. Have you guys looked into it yet?
With the testing.
With the health and safety guidelines, the NFL with the players.
They're gonna test them. I believe it's every 2 days. Eddie's probably gonna look that up for us anyway. But
Fact checker over there, I love it.
stats guy. But I think they're just kind of going off the presumption that there will be testing, and then the opt-out scenario for them. I think they were still on the fence as to whether or not they were going to let them get into a training camp and then get into weeks of playing before they actually say like, you know what, maybe we don't want to do this.
Yeah.
Because that was, I forget whose argument it was, but it was a veteran player who was like, I mean, I understand that I'm no better off going home than going to play, but like maybe I don't like what it looks like, and maybe I want to go home after week 3. Like,
Yeah.
so I think they're still debating on that one, but
it's so weird because there's never been an instance like this ever in history, right? The sports leagues, they're almost unchanged every single year for almost centuries, right? So it's cool to see, the ways in which they're adapting. I just really hope that something like these safety rules don't hold up the league, right? And NFL, everyone, most popular sport of the major U.S. sports, North American sports. So, everyone's thirsting for it. You can already see the energy today with us, with the MLB. I mean, couldn't be more excited to watch that, but we're just hoping all these sports leagues can just go ahead, obviously adhere to these rules, but have successful seasons. And fans have been dying for this, so engagement will be higher than ever, thirsting for this. So looking forward, boys. Great discussion today. Got the Dodgers tonight over the fucking San Francisco Giants. I got the Yankees over the Washington Nationals. Soto's out. You heard it here first.
If you're feeling good, parlay those two.
Thanks for tuning in. We'll now be posting episodes on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So make sure you follow us on Instagram @OwnersBox to stay up to date on all our content. Tune in Tuesday for the next episode.